Thinking about opening a content studio, but not quite sure what type of content studio you want to open, you need to watch this video. Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. I'm Patrice, a bona fide content mompreneur, and I have owned a content studio for more than 6 years, Campspace. Whoop whoop! Shout out to the D&D. I also am the director of marketing and communications for a mega church. I create content every single day. I love it. I love it. I love it. I have 3 kids. I'm married. I love long walks in the park, and I work out like crazy. So welcome to the channel. I have been on this content studio journey actually for over 10 years. But like I said, I've owned my space for 6 years. And around the 4.5-year mark, I felt like I needed to be sharing my journey with you all. So these videos that you see on this channel, along with the podcast, the Content Studio Blueprint podcast, along with the Open a Content Studio community, all the links are in the description, have been created to help you do this content studio thing as easily as possible. I want you to open your studio quicker than I did. I want you to make more money than I did. I want you to have even more impacts, even more customers than I did. I want you to be great. And I want to be a resource for you. So make sure you visit the description to find all the other information and resources that this community has for you. Like I said in the intro, there are a lot of different types of content studios, and you might be wondering what is the right type for you. So I'm going to break those 5 types of content studios down in this video. So the first type of content studio is the content studio that I have. Again, I own Campspace. There's a beautiful video of my beautiful space right there. We opened in 2018, and we were one of the first content studios to ever exist. Period. But we are a content studio that is for all types of content. As you can see, it's a very gender neutral, clean, like aesthetic vibes all day. And that's because I want people to be able to create any type of content there. So when you come into the space, you have beautiful natural light, which is perfect for photography studios. When you come into the space, we have good acoustics, which is great for video production. We've had any type of content created there, podcasts, webinars. We had a whole virtual event for like hundreds of people. All the team, the entire team was in different rooms in the space. We have a kitchen, we have a beautiful bathroom. So Campspace is a content studio that can really be the one-stop shop for any type of creator, any type of vendor, right? So the first type of content studio is your all-around, all type of content. The second type of content studio is a photography studio. So many photographers have photography studios. It just makes their life easier. They already have the customers. They can very easily pad their customer rate. They can pad the studio rental rate into what the customer pays for their time. And usually your photography studios, specifically, even if they don't have natural light, which ours does, they're going to have major lighting. Like they're going to have all different types of light. They're going to have a ton of different types of backdrops. They're probably going to have different props that you can swap in and swap out. You may not find a photography studio that has an outdoor section, or that has a kitchen, or that has a bathroom that you can shoot in, like my space, like the all around content spaces. But your photography studio is usually going to come with a photographer. So when you have your all-encompassing content studios, you have to find the photographer, bring them to the space. But when you have the photography studio, it's usually the photographer's studio, and they're already there. All you got to do is show up, and they're going to shoot, and they have everything that they need right there. They might also have like really heavy like editing equipment or big like computers. I don't know, I'm not a photographer, but there are content studios that are specifically for photography. So that's the second type. The third type of content studio, and this view has changed a little bit, y'all. I'm not in my studio, so forgive me, but we getting the content out anyway. The third type of studio is a podcast studio. Podcast studios are popping up everywhere. And traditionally, podcast studios aren't the prettiest, right? So your podcast studio ain't gonna have the bells and whistles, usually because people are just going there to record their audio content. But when you look at podcast studios that are opening now, like in the last 2-3 years, because podcasts have literally taken over, these podcast studios are looking much less like kind of dusty radio stations and more like full service content studios. They got different backdrops. They got the fluorescent lights. They got the mics. They got everything. And that's because everybody wants video as well. Okay. So if you're thinking about opening up specifically a podcast studio, I want to make sure that you're also thinking about all the people, all the customers that are going to want video too. So you might as well make it look good. Maybe you have some backdrops that you can swap out. So people that are recording their podcasts with you, don't have the same backdrop as the other person that created their podcast with you. The benefit of having the all content type of studio concept like the one that I have is you have so many different backgrounds, so many different options that every customer's piece of content looks different. But like I said, if podcasts are your jam and you really want to brand a space that is specifically for podcasters, I would definitely spend some time thinking about decor. Again, while podcasts are audio and people are hearing it, you got to really understand that people want video. Y'all right here watching me on YouTube right now. Now, what I am going to do is strip the audio and post it onto the Content Studio Blueprint podcast. Absolutely. But people want video too. People want to see you. Okay. And YouTube is actually also the #1 search engine, or maybe the #2 search engine after Google, and Google owns YouTube. So like video is everything. And so if you're thinking about opening a podcast specific studio only, I really want you to consider having decor, just some type of option if people want to do video as well. Okay. All right. So the 4th type of content studio is your video production studio. Now, video production studios have existed forever, right? And when I say video production, I'm talking about TV production. I'm talking about movie production. I'm talking about Hollywood, baby. All the things. That's a content studio. These, where they used to shoot Martin, that's a television production studio, and it's a content studio. Of course, the term content studio didn't exist back then, but it is absolutely a content studio. And you don't see those big production studios everywhere. Absolutely, you don't. However, your small 1,200 square foot content studio is 100% a video production studio too. And when you have studios that are, or content spaces that are really honing in or focused on video, you're going to see, again, lots of lights. You're going to see big cameras. One of the reasons why these studios are so big is because the equipment is so big. The backdrops are so big, and they are filming productions that need to look expansive, right? These are big screen, this is TV. So these spaces are going to be a lot bigger. But like I said, I have a 1,200 square foot space where I've had the Real Housewives record there, Fox News record there, ABC News record there, CBS Morning News record there, like TV One record there. I've had major television productions film right in my little content studio, right? So that's just something to think about. Remember, when people are filming, you know, all those documentaries that we watch on TV and you have people standing talking to the camera, they're sitting in a content studio. They may have rented, the production team may have rented an Airbnb. They may have rented a content studio like yours or like mine, but these are all video productions and these all happen in your space. So the 4th type of content studio is a video production studio. And then the 5th type of content studio is your micro studio. Your micro means small. Your micro studio is the studio that you might have in your house. I'm actually building, or I'm planning to build a micro studio in my basement. We have a bedroom down there and I want to turn it into a studio. It'll still be a bedroom, but it'll have like backdrops that I can record these types of videos because sometimes I don't want to leave and go to my space. But your micro studio might be 600 square feet, if that. It's small and it's usually for 1 or 2 people. You go in, you record. Like I said, it's probably going to be in your house or in a space that is already something else, but you carved out this little spot so that content can be created. You can absolutely rent those micro studios out. You can list them on Peerspace. Now, you know, I don't really rock with Peerspace like that. That's a whole nother video. But micro studios are content studios, and micro studios are also a really good way to enter into the space. So if you don't, into the industry. So if you don't want to go find 2,000 square foot retail space, commercial space, you don't want to pay all that money. You don't want to outfit it and buy all the decor. You don't want to go in debt building a huge studio or a traditional studio. You could start with a micro studio and see how that goes, right? And if you're able to make income and make profit off of that, then maybe you stack that and put it towards something bigger if your audience wants it, right? So those are the 5 types of content. I'll read them again. The first one is your all-around content studio. Your second one is your photography studio. Your third is your videography studio. Then you have your podcast production studio. And then finally, your micro studio. All content though. So when we say content, I am talking about all of those things. I hope this helps you. If you are interested in being a part of the Open a Content Studio community, the link is in the description, but you can also go to openacontentstudio.com, give us your email address. Not sure if the course has launched yet, but if you're on the email list, you will be first to know when it happens. And also check out the Content Studio Blueprint podcast. These are short weekly episodes that share much of this it's also more of like my personal story of how I went along this journey and all the things that I've learned. It's been a long journey, but now it's my time to help you. And so that's why I'm here. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, share this video, and I will see you on the other side next week. Bye.